Alrighty, so well, we have a bit of a weather delay right now in Columbus, and who knows when that game is going to get restarted. And it's kind of funny the fact that we had that weather delay just as the U.S. versus Costa Rica Gold Cup quarterfinal game has begun. So something tells me it feels like Mother Nature just want to pause the MLS action and make sure that everyone gets a chance to watch the U.S. versus Costa Rica. Which, by the way, I'm actually watching it as I'm recording this video, and let's just say, yeah, it's not going so well for the U.S. right now. They're down 1-0 after Max Arfston gave up a penalty. Matt Freeze almost came close in terms of saving it, but yeah, the U.S. they got some work to do because if they don't move on into the next round, oh boy, those Doomers are gonna come out in full force, and there could be a lot of big question that is going to be asked for these next year leading up to the World Cup for the U.S. on home soil. But with that being said, like I said, I am actually going to review the last four game of the Saturday night action now that we have that weather delay in the game between Columbus and the Philadelphia Union. And we start off with the first one being Dallas and San Diego. And by the way, should be a relatively short video since I only have four games to talk about. So I'm not going to do a timestamp in terms of this video. But in this game between San Diego and Dallas, well, it looked like things were going well for Dallas. It looked like they were going to get a statement win. It looks like, this is a classic example of what I thought was going to happen with San Diego getting that big win against Vancouver. It feels like they're going to have a bit of a letdown in this one, but this magical expansion season for San Diego continues, and that the latest game where they're able to kind of pull a rabbit out of the hat happened in this one against Dallas with them stealing all 3 points late. Now in the first half, Musa with the game's first shot, but he hits it wide before Bombino puts it over from long range. Not much really happened, at least in this game. The shots were only one apiece, 17 minutes in. Dryer would miss wide from long range in the 19th minute before Delgado puts it wide from long range. And then the penalty was given to San Diego after Valakari was brought down by Delgado in the box. So here comes Anders Dryer, a chance to score from the penalty spot. And mind you, the last penalty that he scored, yeah, that was that was pretty fortunate because the last penalty that he scored against Minnesota, that was one that was not a good penalty and was very fortunate that he was facing against Russell Spiel, who can keep it out. But this time he did a much better job from the spot and buries this penalty to give San Diego a 1-0 lead. That lead looked like it was short lived because in the 34th minute, Lucho Acosta thought that he scored the tying goal for Dallas as he's able to chip this one over Dos Santos, but the goal was disallowed for offside on the development play, and it was the right call because on the development play. I forgot which Dallas player it was that was coming back to receive it, but yeah, he was coming back from an offside position, couldn't quite do so, so the goal was chopped off. But in the 44th minute, Dallas does get themselves the equalizer, and it's Pedro Musa, the one that gets the equalizer. It's got to be great if you're a Dallas fan seeing Pedro Musa start to get back to his form from last season, scoring almost every single game. But yeah, this is not a great moment for San Diego. Just a bad back pass there, and just kind of a gift there for Pedro Musa to buries it, and they were rightfully punished. The defense for San Diego was not good whatsoever in this game, but we do head to halftime. Or actually, before we head to halftime, I forgot we still had a couple of things that happened. In fact, San Diego themselves thought that they got the lead back as Ilowski looked like continue his goal scoring frenzy, but this time his goal was disallowed for offside. Dos Santos then denied Leggett, but it falls to Musa, and his shot was deflected behind before Augustine would head it wide from close. So there were definitely some action late in the first half, definitely some chances, but we do head to halftime tied up at one apiece. In the second half, Dryer would miss wide from long range before Kamungo thought that he put the ball into the back of net. Problem was the flag was up again for offside. There was a lot of goals in this one that was disallowed because of the flag, but one goal that was not disallowed happened 3 minutes later as Dallas takes the lead. And this has to feel good for Sebastian Lletget. I mean, it's been a battle for him to come back from a serious torn ACL injury, and this has got to feel good for him to be back on the score sheet to give Dallas the 2-1 lead. But yeah, here Dos Santos make a big save there on Musa, but it just falls right to Lletget. It also came off a bad turnover from San Diego as well. Like I said, the defense for San Diego in this game, it was not good. It wasn't good against Vancouver either. I think if there's one knock you would say about this incredible run that San Diego has, the defense has been a little bit shaky in the last couple of games, but it really doesn't matter when the goal scoring and the attack has really kind of picked up the slack with this team. Angel did look to answer, but his shot was blocked. San Diego definitely were looking for the equalizer. Dallas was trying to go on that low block again, and this is kind of concerning if you're Dallas because they try to did this against the Quakes, trying to protect the lead, almost like playing defense to use it as an NFL term. And we see so many times before when you try to do that, or you could say maybe a Rohit kind of thing. Yeah, it just doesn't work out because in the 77th minute, San Diego gets the tying goal. It's Shuki Lozano. He's back on the goal scoring chart. He scored from Miloski and Dryer to tie the game up at two apiece. Musa didn't look to respond, but he hits this one wide on a free header, and that is one that Petter Musa would have want that back, and that is a moment that's going to haunt Dallas later in this game because 9 out of 10 times Musa buries that one. Farrington would then hits it right to Dos Santos in the 6 minute stoppage time, and just as we thought that this game was going to end in a 2-2 draw, San Diego steals its leg. It's Thomas Angel. He scored for the second consecutive game, and for the second consecutive game, scoring in stoppage time from Dreyer and Lawfulson to make it 3-2 in favor of San Diego. And yeah, that would be the final score of this game as this incredible expansion season for San Diego can continue. As I said, I think they're going to break the record for the most points an expansion team has had. They're well truly on their way to do so. But the shots in this one, 15 shots for both of these teams, 6 shots on goal for the 3 that San Diego has, 9 shots off target for the 4 that Dallas had, 4 shots on the block for the 8 that San Diego has, and possession wise, 60% possession compared to 40% possession that Dallas has in this game. And I think it's safe to say that Dallas is probably happy the fact that they're finished with San Diego. I mean, this has been pretty painful in terms of these last two meetings that they face against San Diego. First, getting absolutely blasted on the road by San Diego, and then just let a game slip out of their hand, especially letting a late goal slip out of their hands and getting nothing out of this game, and also getting nothing in the last game as well. And as I said, the home form has been a real problem for Dallas this season. They are not getting points at home whatsoever, and this is really hurting their chances in terms of keeping themselves in the playoff race. But that being said, moving on in the next game is Chicago and Charlotte, and boy did Chicago almost did the same thing that Colorado did, almost blow a 3-0 lead. But unlike New England, Charlotte, even though they came back from that 3-0 deficit and make it interesting late in this one, they just really didn't create a lot of chances. I thought that they would do so after they scored those two quick goals. And as I said, I thought Chicago was going to go in your typical meltdown mode that we have seen with this Fire team. I mean, it would be just such a certified Fire moment if they blow a 3-0 lead at home, especially with them struggling so much this season at home. Only one win so far, but hey, in the end, they hang on and got their second win in this one, albeit in a not really in a comfortable way. But in the first half, the Fire definitely started the better side. But the question is, can they finally end this goal drought? Because they have not scored a goal at home in the last two games. The shots were 3-0 15 minutes in for the Fire, but then in the 22nd minute, the Fire finally broke the goal drought. It's Zikanago. He scored from Dean to make it 1-0 in favor of Chicago. So if all things in doubt, why not rely on Zikanago, the all-star for the Fire here to give them a 1-0 lead? And like I said, finally just just ending that goal drought. But most importantly, this was a great goal from Zikanago. I mean, he basically went beast mode here and basically completely done that Charlotte defense. And yeah, that Charlotte defense, we always praise the fact that Charlotte has been very good in terms of their defensive point. That was not one of them. I mean, that was woeful defending, and Kalina also not great moment here, getting 5 hole there as well. But just like that, Chicago takes the lead, and then 2 minutes later, they would make it 2-0. As Gutierrez would score from Zikanago to make it 2-0 in favor of Chicago. Abada did look to answer, but he puts it wide on the volley. But then the 33rd minute, Chicago make it 3-0 as Hugo Kuipers gets back on the score sheet to make it 3-0, and it was an absolute gift too. Just a WTF back pass there from Charlotte. Very similar to what we saw in this game with a back pass from San Diego that gifted the home side the lead. But yeah, 33 minutes in, it's 3-0 in favor of the Fire, and I think it's safe to say that yeah, for the Fire, that goal draw not only is over, but that you see this happen before where teams once they finally end the goal drought, especially at home, the goal scoring and the floodgates is going to open, and the floodgates is definitely open for the Fire. But you can also thank the fact that that Charlotte defense non-existent whatsoever in this game. How many times I've said before how a Charlotte defense could be just not non-existent. This has been one of the best defensive team over the years, but this season it's just been the complete opposite. In fact, these last couple of months, it's been that's been kind of what's hurting them. Where it's not just the attack that's been a problem with this team, but it's the defense that have just regressed to the mean this year. Bomba did look to make it four, but he hits it right to Kalina before in the first minute of stoppage time. Bronico would hits one into the side netting, and yeah, we do head to halftime with Chicago leading 3-0. What can go wrong in this game? Well, things started gone wrong for the Fire because after Zaha puts it over from close range in the 56th minute, Pepe El would score. He scored from Zaha to make it 3-1 in this one, and then just 3 minutes later, Tukamani would score from Bio and Diani to make it 3-2, and all of a sudden, I immediately wrote, oh, we've seen this story before with the Chicago Fire, and I'm pretty sure Chicago fans probably have seen this story before where the Fire have a certified moment of them just absolutely completely going to meltdown mode, and it just feels like they're on the verge of having a Minnesota and Rapids moment and blowing a 3-0 lead. Though Zinchenko did look to restore the 2-goal lead, but he was denied by Kalina. And then we go for a period where not much really happened, and that was huge for the Chicago Fire because I'm pretty sure for the Fire they was trying to slow this game down and try to slow any momentum that Charlotte has had. And in many ways, they did the thing that Colorado should have done when they face against New England. They should have slowed down the game and make sure Charlotte doesn't have any belief because right now the belief for Charlotte is at its sky high. And by the way, as I'm saying this, they actually just give a penalty for the U.S. on a VAR, and right now it looks like who is it? I think it's Malik Tillman, the one that is about to score here. So I'm just gonna watch this quick before I resume this review. Again, this is what happened when you're, of course, watching the game at the same time of doing this review as well. I gotta keep an eye on this one. It's actually the 36th minute right now. I'm not gonna show footage of the game because obviously, if I show footage in the game, I'm gonna get copyright strike. But yeah, here comes Malik Tillman here, ready to take this penalty. Actually, is it Malik Tillman? Oh, he missed it. He hit the post. Oh my goodness, it's over the bar. Oh my goodness. Oh my, that is bad. That is really bad from the US. Now, oh, and now there's some scuffle going on. Oh, this could get ugly here. I think they might even go to VAR again to see whether there's maybe some scuffle. But wow, I mean, what a missed opportunity for the US. And is this? I mean, if the US does lose to Costa Rica in this one, is this going to be similar to when they lost to Trinidad and Tobago and Cuba? I mean, is it going to be in a similar magnitude, especially the failure that the U.S. have been through in these last couple of months? But yeah, that's a huge penalty miss, and I mean, he was trying to hit it in the bottom left, and he just hit the post there. And then, yeah, what a missed moment. I mean, is that going to come back to haunt the U.S.? Anyway, getting back to the review itself. So, as I said, we go for a period where not much happened. The Fire, they were just trying to get this game out, trying to kill this game out. Gutman would then puts it just wide from long range, but yeah, in the end, the Chicago Fire they avoid the fate that the Colorado Rapids and Minnesota did this season. They hang on to win 3-2 in this one. The shots in this one, 12 shots for the 8 that Charlotte has, 5 shots on goal for the 2 that Charlotte has, 5 shots off target for the 1 that the Fire had, 6 shots was blocked for the 1 that Charlotte has, and possession-wise, 54% possession compared to 46% possession that Charlotte has in this game. What a very fortunate break that the Fire has in this one. I mean, like I said, if they would have blown the 3-0 lead, this would have been a very certified Fire moment. But this is kind of the thing we see about Greg Berhalter's side. Yes, they have had these kind of moments where they look like to have the same mentality that we see Fire team in the past does. But this season, we have also seen that the Fire has kind of learned from their past mistake and show that mental toughness to try to overcome some adversity. And yeah, they definitely overcome some adversity in this one. They could have easily blow this lead, and nobody would have been surprised because of it, because that's what the Chicago Fire does in the past. But yeah, for Charlotte, I mean, I guess they at least made it a game in this one, but the defensive mistake, that is a huge concern right now, and it seems like they're on their way of on another losing run. And if that is going to be the case, who would have thought that a team that was first in the standings back in May could now be in dangers of not even making the playoffs and going through just a downward trend? But moving on, in the next game, we got Seattle versus Austin FC. So now we're going to talk about the two West Coast game, including the one that I attended last night. But yeah, in this game between the Sounders and Austin, they of course the Sounders themselves gets a win in this one, and they mentioned the fact that the Sounders have lost five in a row coming into this game. I mean, is that really true? Is it that the Sounders have really lost five in a row coming to it? Definitely doesn't feel like that was the case. But nevertheless, they get a big win in this one against an Austin team that I think, for Austin, that break seems like it killed their momentum. I mean, they had all the momentum before the break, but now it seems like they're kind of back to square one, where it's a team that heavily rely on hopefully not conceding a lot of goals and able to nick one or two goals in and get the win, and that didn't happen in this game against the Sounders. In the first half, the first shot of the game sees Stuver deny Muswowski as he was saving on to the post, but then it falls to Barrow, who tried to clear it, but instead he hits the post. I mean, that was just a wild sequence as well, and one that, yeah, for Guillermo Barrow, he almost had an Armor Tarek moment here, and for a second, I think he forgot which green team he play. I mean, he's playing for Los Verde here, not the Raven Green, because the way that he strike this one and try to clear it, it feels like he was playing for the Rave Green rather than Verdes in this game. But not much really happened early in this one besides that crazy sequence. The shots were only 2-1 for Seattle 20 minutes in. Muswowski would heads it wide from close before he missed wide from close in the 33rd minute. You can see Muswowski was really trying to finally end his goal drought. And again, this is a guy that just doesn't have a lot of confidence right now in front of goal. And that, yeah, it just feels like when you're a number nine and you don't have a lot of confidence, no matter what kind of chances you create, it's just not going to go in. But that being said, Seattle definitely getting some chances. They were trying to get the opener goal. Vasquez would then hits it right to Fry in the 34th minute. But then in the first minute of stoppage time, the Sounders takes the lead. It's Jesus Ferreira. He scored from Rothrock and Rusnak to give the Sounders a 1-0 lead. And I gotta say, for Danny Muswowski, you might need to talk to Jesus Ferreira to how to solve a long goal draw, how to finally break that out of it, because ever since Jesus Ferreira finally broke out of his goal drought problem, he's been scoring goals for the Sounders team, and that's got to be great news for the Sounders. But we do head to halftime with Seattle leading 1-0, and heading into the second half. Remember how I said that it feels like Muswowski need to call Ferreira for some advice to how to break a goal drought and how to break a very tough stretch of not being confident in front of goals. Feels like maybe both of those teammates talked at halftime, because in the 54th minute, that goal drought finally came to an end for Muswowski. He scored from Fiera to make it 2-0, and that has to feel good for Danny Muswowski. I mean, just you can always know the feeling of a number nine that just doesn't have a lot of confidence in front of goal, and if you finally can able to bear one, it just feels like a huge weight left off the shoulder, and I'm pretty sure that's kind of the same case for Muswowski in this one. So yeah, that made it 2-0. Vasquez did look to answer, but he heads this one wide before Vargas puts it over from long range in the 63rd minute. Reagan would then heads it right to Stuver, as both of these teams was kind of exchanging some chances on both end. Reagan would then heads one right to Stuver again in the 75th minute before Dosatsky would heads it wide from the corner in the 85th minute. Austin was definitely pushing to try to get one back. The Sounders, it seems like they were starting to kind of play in a hold on mode. And by the way, the U.S. just equalized. Looks like Diego Luna just ties the game up. So yeah, kind of all is forgotten when it comes to the Malik Tillman uh, penalty kick miss. But yeah, big goal for the U.S. and for Diego Luna. He's kind of showing you why he deserved to be in the All Star game, and that just like what he did with RSL, it feels like he's trying to carry the U.S. to the finish line in this one. But anyway, going back to this game, as I said, Austin was pressing hard to try to get the goal back, trying to set up a grandstand finish, and then we saw a red card happen as Baker Whiting got a second yellow card in the 89th minute. So no, it's all hands on deck now for Seattle if it wasn't before, now down to 10 men. Gallagher would then puts it over from close range. But yeah, in the end, the Sounders, they hold on to get the 2-0 win. And most importantly, this is the first clean sheet that Seattle has had since May. For a team that has always been very good defensively, it is kind of surprising that it's taken this long for them to finally get themselves a clean sheet. But the shots in this one, 12 shots created 11 that Austin had, one shots on goal for the six that the Sounders had, three shots off target for the six that Austin had. Both teams had three shots that was blocked, and possession wise, 55% possession compared to 45% possession that Austin has in this game. And yeah, for Austin, yeah, this feels like it's a familiar tale for them. If they're not getting the goal scoring and their defense just a little bit leaking the game, these are kind of the resort that they're going to get. But the Sounders wouldn't care. They needed this one badly, and like I said, I'm not sure were they really on a very bad run of form, and if that is the case, yeah, this is exactly what the doctor ordered for the Sounders team to get themselves back on track. Now, moving on into the last game of this review. We're going to talk about the game that I went to yesterday between the Quakes and the Galaxy, and now make it three Cali Clasico at Stanford Stadium in a row that the Quakes have not won against the Galaxy. In fact, I actually looked back to see when's the last time the Quakes have beat the Galaxy at Stanford Stadium. 2019 was the year that was happening. Obviously, we didn't had one in 2020 or 2021 as well because of the COVID restriction. But my word, it's been long since the Quakes have beaten the Galaxy at Stanford Stadium, and I feel like coming into this one, this was an opportunity to do so. I mean, after the Quakes put put up a great performance against Dallas, won 4-2 in this one. I thought they would have had all the momentum in the world heading into this game against a one-win Galaxy side. But again, this we talked about before. When you, of course, get a big win, especially a statement win on the road, is that going to be maybe a bit of a let down? And I wouldn't expect that would be the case. I thought this team would be hyped up coming into this one, but it's just been the complete opposite. I mean, that second half, I don't know what happened to this team in the second half. The first half was good from the Quakes, and they probably should have been up by more, but that's kind of the story of this season of them missing chances left and right. But my goodness, that second half, that was probably the worst half that I've seen the Quakes play in quite some while. Probably right up there in terms of when they gave up 4 goals to Charlotte early this season. But in the first half, 15 seconds in, we did see our first yellow card of the game. So that must be the fastest we have seen this season in terms of a yellow card that is being shown. But in the second minute, Mikovic would tip Espinoza's shot over before Painso missed high from close. That also came out of a bad turnover from the Quakes. That would be a big story in this game as well, where the Quakes just uncharacteristically turned the ball over in their own end, and yeah, they were very fortunate. The fact that the guy that it fell to was Joseph Painso. I mean, the season that Joseph Painso has this year is completely night and day compared to last season. Last season, Painso would have given the Galaxy a 1-0 lead as a resort, but this season he just can't buy a goal. I mean, it just I don't know what has happened to Joseph Painso, and also just I think whatever injury that he suffer, I think that has really kind of pulled him back, and we've seen this before when players go through and a lengthy time of injury. And in the case of Painto, it took a while for him to come back, but he just have not been the same player that we've seen compared to what we saw last season for the Galaxy. But in the 11th minute, Chicho Arango had a shot that actually hits the back netting, and everybody thought that went in. I mean, almost the whole stadium erupted because it was 1-0, but it hits the back stanchion there. There was a couple of half chances for both of these teams, but the shots were still only 2-1 early in this one in favor of the Galaxy. Peck would then put it wide from close in the 13th minute, but then the 16th minute, only the second shot of the game, Quakes takes the lead. It's Bo LaRue. He scored for Mark Anthony Kaye to make it 1-0 in favor of the Quakes, and it was a banger and a half from Bo LaRue. Bo LaRue has really becoming one of the unsung hero for the Quakes, and he's another example of a guy that you probably have not heard of in the beginning of the season. Kind of came into this team as a nobody, but he has excelled in a big way. And this is the thing with Bruce Arena team. He's always going to find some hidden gems, especially in the youth level. And for Bolaroot, a guy that was drafted kind of an unknown commodity, but now he's easily becoming one of the best player and one of the best young talented players that the Quakes have generated in a very, very, very long time. But in the 20th minute, Daniel would deny Nascimento as the flag went up. The Quakes once again was struggling in terms of dealing with transition play. The Galaxy was just killing the Quakes on the transitional play, and this was the same problem that I saw in the last Cali Clasico too, where the Quakes really was struggling in terms of dealing with transitional play from the Galaxy. Espinoza would then hits one right to Mikovic on the free kick before Espinoza puts it into the stands in the 34th minute. Peck would then puts it wide from close range. The shots were 5-2, 37 minutes in, up to that point. The Quakes did start to sit in a bit of a mid block, and the Galaxy really having a tough time in terms of trying to breaking that down. But we do head to halftime with the score tied up at one apiece. In the second half, Judd would hits it wide from close in the 40th minute, then there was a shout for a penalty for the Galaxy not given. Turnover in the midfield continued to be a problem for the Quakes because that moment all happened because of a bad turnover there from the Quakes. Costa would then puts one back to San Jose from the volley before Daniel denied Painso from close in the 60th. Chicho would then puts one into the stands. Both of these teams definitely getting some good goal scoring chances, but the question is who can finally get that next goal. Well, Peck tried to do so, but he was denied by Daniel in the 67th minute. But then in the 70th minute, the Galaxy takes the lead as Marco Royce would ties the game up at one apiece. Daniel did make a great save in terms of he did everything to try to keep this one out, but it just falls right back into the Royce who hits it into the empty net. And again, if it wasn't for Danielle in this game, the Quakes probably would have lost this one. That's how bad things kind of got for this team, especially in the second half. Arango did look to respond, but he was denied by Makovic before Painso puts one into the side netting in the 76th minute, and then he denied Peck from close in the 87th minute from another lightning counterattack from the Galaxy. Again, the Quakes, no answer in terms of dealing with the transitional play that the Galaxy shown throughout this one. Chicho Arango then hits it wide from close in the third minute stoppage time. But yeah, in the end, it ends in a 1-1 draw in this one. The shots in this one, 13 shots apiece, 3 shots off target, or 3 shots on goal compared to 7 that the Galaxy had, 4 shots off target compared to 7 that the Quakes had, 3 shots that was blocked compared to 1 that the Galaxy had, and possession-wise, 51% possession compared to 49% possession the Galaxy has in this game. And I know some people will say that, this draw doesn't hurt as much because they got the win against Dallas. But really, when you're playing a one-win Galaxy team, especially when you haven't been able to win a Cali Clasico at Stanford Stadium. Yes, I know they won the first one down in LA, but I really want this team to finally win one at Stanford Stadium, and especially this is probably the most likely to do so, especially against probably the weakest Galaxy team we have seen in recent some memories. They have to win this game. They absolutely have to win this game, and this is not the first time I've said before. For the Quakes have dropped points against teams that they should have won. It's very similar in any ways of the other team that I root for with Minnesota. How much I've been very frustrated with some of the games that they should have won, and teams that they should easily get 3 points and not able to do so, and that can of course come back to haunt them in the latter stage. And I'm going to say the same thing about the Quakes as well. I mean, there's no doubt that I think this team is going to make it to the playoffs, and there's no doubt that I think this finally could be the time where we finally might see the Quakes play a playoff game at PayPal Park, at least one of the game in the best of three series. But I really want this team to at least get maybe 2 or 3 games even deeper down the line, especially get home field advantage because I think this team can definitely do so. They have the talent to do so. The defense might be what's holding them back, which is why all this summer transfer window, almost at all off season, but heading into the summer transfer window, they have to invest in that spot because again in this game, Daniel really kind of bailed out this team a couple of times, and that if that defense doesn't sort out, it doesn't matter how good the attack it is, it's not going to go so far in terms of how they will for the rest of the season. But there you have it. That is pretty much it for the review of these 4 games. As always, let me know in the comments below. What do you think of these 4 games? And by the way, it's halftime right now in that game between the U.S. and Costa Rica. I need to also look to make sure that game between Columbus and the Philadelphia Union is still on a weather delay. If not, yeah, I might have missed another couple of minutes just like I did when I had to rush to do the first 8 game review as part one of looking at the games from match week number 21 in terms of the Saturday night action. But either way, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash the subscribe button, and yeah, I of course will see you guys next time.